This clip came from the Doug Crabtree Report podcast. Full episodes drop every Monday at 9 p.m.
Let's say you could travel 1 trillion miles in 1 year. It would take you 588,000 years to travel the length of the Milky Way galaxy. More than double that to get through the galaxy beside ours, which I don't recall the name of that. The Andromeda galaxy, which is over double in girth. It's a big mafka. That's a huge bitch. Okay? Or go ahead and develop the ability to travel at the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. You heard me. Light travels. So, light a candle, strike a match, or when you see the flash of a lightning bolt, the light off of that flash, the light making that flash happen, the light of that lightning bolt traveled to your eyes at 186,000 miles in 1 second. That's the speed. So, you want to know how fast light travels in 2 seconds? Quick enough for me to go 1, 2. Well, that would be whatever 186,000 miles times 2 is. Okay? Got your calculator? So, how do we live on forever and become true space invaders? How do we boldly go where no man has ever gone before? How do we leave Earth and just keep right on going and live well beyond our Earth? I hate to break it to you, folks. It's not possible. And I hate to break it to you again. It ain't gonna be possible. Motherfucker, you ain't going no place. For a multitude of reasons. Okay? To occupy Mars is fun for the news at 11. But it's not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of shit. It's not going to help. It's not going to increase our chances of surviving after our Earth becomes a cold star. The only way to see how we might survive after the Milky Way galaxy turns into a black hole is to escape the Milky Way galaxy, get outside of it, into another part of the universe, or perhaps into another galaxy, to rest upon and thrive and grow on other planets that have all the Earth stuff that we need to continue our growing. Like water and good sex and all the elements of procreation and survival and maintaining health and oxygen. I can't believe I almost forgot to say oxygen. And CO2 for plants so we can eat and have nourishment. Okay? Let's say we went looking for a rock outside of the Milky Way in order to chill on it while the Milky Way sucks itself back into a black hole, which will happen. Look, you think Mount St. Helens blowing up, inevitably blocking out sunlight for 3 or 4 years is going to be like the thing that kills us all? It could happen, but I got a feeling we'll be okay. There's ways to get by. But one thing you cannot escape or survive physically. You might survive in the spirit world somewhere. I don't know. I haven't been there yet. I got a feeling days of heaven. But we ain't talking about days of heaven right now. We're talking about how you physically survive the Milky Way going from the Milky Way galaxy to a black hole. Like the highest concentration of gravity we can even imagine or know of at this time. By the way, time will go on even after that. Time does not stop and start, dictated by planetary positions in relation to each other. That's not how time works. You need to go ahead, motherfucker, and research my other video called The Truth About Time, Parallel Universes, Black Holes, etc., etc. Okay? So what you got to do to survive after the black hole event is get the out of the way. Get out of here. Get on the mothership and go. It could happen if God raptures us out and you're just not even involved anymore. Or some alien, which could be a form of a god in a way, comes with their far superior abilities and says, hey, kind of like a Martha Stewart, psst, psst, hey, you might want to move your money if you ever want to have it again. Imagine the aliens coming down and saying that, hey, look, yeah, you look weird too, so let's get that out of the way. But you might want to get on this craft because the Milky Way galaxy is going to vaporize into dolphin shit here in a second. If that were to happen, and that alien craft were to take you out of here, I hope it happens in time. If it traveled at the speed of light, meaning it could travel 186,000 miles in 1 second, it would have to travel at that rate for 100,000 years just to get to the far reaches of the Milky Way. The Milky Way is just our galaxy. The observable universe has a lot more than just our galaxy. For example, like I said, the galaxy beside ours is more than double us. That galaxy looks at the Milky Way like we're like his little sister. Okay? Yard? So go ahead and get on that alien spaceship. Pray to God it can travel 186,000 miles a second. And pray to God you survive traveling for 100,000 years, balls to the wall. Let's say you could sustain yourself on this spaceship. Well, I don't know about you, but most of my ancestors peaked around 100 years old. Then they kicked it. Do you know how many generations of human beings would have to procreate, die, and procreate and die on that ship traveling at 186,000 miles per second? You know how long they would have to do their thing before just until they got to the end of the Milky Way for 100,000 years worth? Well, a little over 1,000 times over. If they live to be about 100, let's say they live to be about 200, then about 500 generations worth-ish. That's a lot of motherfucking generations. What are they going to eat? Where are they going to poop? Where are they going to do it at? Where are they going to shower? What if the water goes out? Okay. Let's look at the math here. My point of this is to say that occupying Mars ain't going to mean shit. It'll only be something cool to do for a hot minute. But in the grand scheme of things, it ain't going to matter if you occupy Mars, Pluto, the Kuiper Belt. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're gargling nutsacks on Pluto. It ain't going to matter, bro. 1 light year equals 5.88 trillion miles. Do Do you know how many makes up a trillion? Just 1 trillion, let alone 5.88? 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. 1,000 billion. 1 billion, 1,000 times over, can get you to 5 trillion. That can get you to 1 trillion. 1 billion, 1,000 times over, can get you to 1 trillion. Increase that almost by 6 multiplied. You're going to get a light year out of it. And then do that for 100,000 years. Because you need 100,000 of those in distance, light years. Okay? Well, what's a billion? A billion is 10 million. Okay? Yard? 10 million. And forgive my math. Actually, it takes 1,000 million to get to one of those billion. 1,000 of those billions to get to one of those trillion, and 5.88 of those trillion to get to 1 light year. Okay? So like 500,000 miles, do that twice, you'll reach 1 million. Okay? When you're there, do that 1,000 times to reach 1 billion. Do that 1,000 times to reach 1 trillion. Do that close to 6 times to reach the same distance. This is miles, by the way. The same distance light would have traveled in a year's time. 186,000 miles in 1 second. Times a year's worth of seconds. 5.88 trillion miles. Take that length, that measurement, multiply that by 100,000. Then, and only then, will you be outside of the Milky Way. I don't know if you know this or not, but the universe is a biggin'. Far bigger than all your problems. Far bigger than your lifespan. Far bigger than the lifespan of the earth itself. And far bigger than the lifespan of humans. I mean, problem-wise is what I'm referring to. Like, in the grand scheme of things, what's it going to matter? Now, in the meantime, once you realize that you are but a blade of grass in God's yard, you are just one blade of grass. And you will be managed by God's big lawnmower. So just get ready. You are one of probably infinite blades of grass. Your life, my life, is but a vapor trail in the big picture. So look at like a giant carpeted living room, then get down the middle of the floor and pick out one little curl of carpet, pluck it out, pull all the little fibers apart the most you can. Take one of those tiny little fibers with a pair of tweezers and put it under a microscope and examine all the microfibers that make up that one little fiber. And that still ain't shit compared to how infinite time and space is. You heard me? So, you go ahead and worry about occupying Mars. Because Mars don't give a shit what you trying to occupy. Time itself don't care. The Milky Way don't care. All your shit is turning back into a black hole. So you might as well. If you can't get out of it, to quote a song here by, what is it? Big Men, Big Time? Let me think. The Have Love Will Travel Review is a band with Dan Aykroyd and I think Jim Belushi off the album Big Men, Big Music, if I'm remembering it right. There's a song in there that says, if you can't get out of it, you might as well get into it. You ain't going nowhere. Don't matter if you occupy Mars or not. We can't even figure out how to teach people to grow their own garden so they don't starve to death here on the earth, or at least in the process quit having kids they can't afford to raise. And you going to occupy Mars? There's no atmosphere on Mars. What are you going to do? Bring a ton of Earth material with you to build oxygen chambers up there on Mars? For what? You need to turn Mars into a giant rocket ship and teach it how to go 186,000 miles in 1 second, then slap it on the ass and tell it to really get moving so you can escape the Milky Way before the shit shrinks into the same size as your dick, bitch.